All right, hello everyone, it's silverkyle, and today we're going to be going over all the books that I read in the month of September 2024, but I think that my ambitions to read 5 books were a little bit too high for that month because I only finished 2. Now, the reason being for that is because I'm still moving into my new house. And I wanted to have a party at the very end of September, and we had that. I had a dozen people here, had a great time, and a lot of that had to do with because the house is exactly as I wanted it to be. It was fully cleaned, and I'm talking top to bottom, like the walls, the ceilings in some instances, the fan, every fan I went over and dusted. I have like really high ceilings because I have it's a what is it, a bungalow with a finished basement. And so it kind of opens up. You either go upstairs to the main floor or downstairs in the basement. And so I have really high ceilings there, and I cleaned the walls there. That was hard to do. But anyway, that's all done. We had a great time at the party and the get together. And now I feel I'll be able to get back into my groove of things now that I'm settled into my new house and I don't have any big projects to do anymore. I'm not cleaning constantly or organizing things. I can really just sit down, relax, and read. So I think that from now on, I'll be able to read more, but you never know what life's going to throw at you. So who knows? I think I'll be doing a lot better now. So let's talk about the 2 books that I did finish reading, and we'll kind of talk about the other 3 that I have started, just haven't finished yet. Let's start with the first one that I finished, though. That is Linwood Barclay's I Will Ruin You. Now, I picked this book up. I had no intentions of picking it up. I had no idea what the book was about, but I was at the airport, and the books that I brought with me were already in my luggage and on the plane because I completely forgot to pull one out. So I said, oh crap, I need to go buy a book. Quickly went at one of the stores that was inside the airport, saw this, read the flap, said, that sounds interesting enough. Let's read this. And I'm so happy that I did. This is a darn good little mystery novel. I don't know if it's a mystery. It's basically this character called Richard that has really good intentions. And he's a teacher at a school. He ends up saving pretty much everyone at the school because there's a bomber that kind of shows up, runs over and wants to bomb the school. And he saves everybody from that bomber. The only problem is that afterwards they kind of did like this TV show on him, or not a TV show, but they put him on the news. And then there was one person that saw him and said something. And then what that person said ended up steamrolling into some really bad things that would happen into Richard's life that Richard had nothing to do with, but he was just caught in the crossfires because he ended up showing up on the news. It's really convoluted and kind of hard to explain without spoiling anything, but that's essentially what happened. Richard is a good guy, had good intentions, saved a ton of people, did everything right, and then kind of gets thrown into something that he had nothing involved in, was not involved in at all. And it just keeps getting worse and worse and worse. And Richard, to begin with, I mean, he's not doing too well because he just, he had to deal with a bomber and he's having a hard time with his wife because his wife is like, why did you throw yourself at that guy? Why did you do this? Anybody else, should have just hid or ran or anything like that. Because you always have good intentions and like you could have lost your life. We have a daughter. What are you thinking? So he's got so much stress there. Then there's another teacher at the school that's after him because of what other things that happened during this almost bombing. It's nuts. And he just keeps getting worse and worse. And my mother was on the plane with me right beside me, and she keeps seeing that like some of the chapters are called Richard, and she would always ask, how's Richard doing? And I'd be like, oh, it's horrible. This is what's going on. And it's crazy the things that happen to him in this novel, but it's a good ride. I really enjoyed it, and I ended up giving, I'll do a full review, but I kind of gave the gist of everything here. I gave it a 3.5 stars out of 5. Yeah, I just said that, 3.5 out of 5. And I give it 3 stars on Goodreads, though, because I feel it was closer to the 3 than the 4. Next one is The Tainted Cup, which is book 1 of, I don't know if they say it here. I know that it's part of a series, and I don't think that they're going to say, oh yeah, Shadow of the Leviathan, book 1. And I think it's going to be a trilogy, although I'm not 100% certain. And this is Robert Jackson Bennett. This is the first novel that I read from this author. It is a fantasy novel that is a mystery at the same time. And basically, I really liked a lot of aspects of the world building here. Because It's a mystery novel set in a fantasy setting, and you have specific characters that are magically upgraded in different aspects. So whatever that they're needed, if you need like a soldier, you're going to have some soldiers that have more strength, but they can't last as long because of the amount of muscle that they're trying to use really bogs them down and ends up like ruining them. Think of like bodybuilders that just push their bodies to the full max, or a strongman. It's probably strongman is more accurate, where they're pushing themselves to the absolute max, but even more so, right? It's barely possible to do that. Others have augmentations to be a lot smarter. Whatever, maybe some of them have in certain aspects, like they'll specifically choose an area that they want to be working on, and that's the augmentation that they'll have in their brain. Other people might have a better sense of smell. And the main character here can remember a lot better. So basically he has these vials that anytime that he smells this vial and he re-smells that exact smell again, he'll be able to remember whatever he was doing during that time, that right when he took that vial of whatever the smell was. And so what he does is that he's the assistant to a main recluse investigator who doesn't want anything to do with society and lives in a small hut, does not even go to investigate anything because she trusts her assistant to be able to tell her exactly what she needs to know to figure out and solve these mysteries. So that's really cool. And in the first part of it, we're kind of just introduced a little bit to his character, and we didn't really dive into the rest of the world building. That also has these gigantic leviathans that are kind of on the outside in the ocean, and they have these walls. It reminds me of the Attack on Titan to a degree, just instead of like the woods, it's an ocean and like a wall right where the ocean would be. And that's what it reminded me of, but we don't get to that point until maybe 80 to 100 pages afterwards, when they kind of solve this one small mystery that kind of leads into a much bigger mystery where they have to go to like this other big city close to the ocean. And that's where everything started really building up, and you get a lot more about this world. And that's the best part about this. The characters themselves are okay. I liked them, but I didn't feel overly attached to them. I really liked the world building, though. That was by far the best part of this book. And knowing that there's going to be a book 2 and book 3, I don't know if I'm going to continue, because the characters aren't bad. They're just there. And I connected a little bit, but I wasn't just like, oh, like if they died, okay. It's more so the mystery that really pulled me towards this book, and the world building. So I'm going to see. I might continue. We'll kind of see how things go. But I gave this also a 3.5 out of 5 stars. But I gave it 4 stars on Goodreads because it was a little bit better than I Will Ruin You. So that's they both have the 3.5 rating, but this one is a 3. This one's a 4 on Goodreads. So that's everything that I read in the month of September. But I still have, I'm still working on Lucy Foley's The Midnight Feast. I'm still about halfway through, so we'll get to that. October, I'm good. It's pretty much going to be these books that I'm reading. I also have, and I don't have the flap on it here, but this is The Trials of the Empire by Richard Swan, which is book 3 of The Empire of the Wolf, I believe it's called. Looking forward to finally finishing that. Did read a little bit more in this because I think I was maybe 50 pages. I'm at 150 now, something like that. And The Bane of My Existence, The Return of the King, which I still need to finish. I feel like as long as I finish this at some point this year, I'll be happy. I've got 3 months to finish this book because I want to read other books that I had on my TBR for October. But I mean, I'm diving into 3 more now, and I'm going to have to move some books, right? I have no choice. So we're going to see how that all goes. But like I said, now that all the cleaning is done, I may be able to do a lot of reading this weekend specifically, although I have some plans for video games too. It just never ends. All right. Let me know in the comments below what you read in September. We'll talk to y'all next time. Thank you. You have all been bearded in. Beardage.